My name is Elizabeth Smith. I've been a stay-at-home wife for 4 years now. My husband, George, has been longing for children since before we got married. Of course, I wanted kids too. But for some reason, I didn't even show signs of pregnancy for 3 years. After a year and a half of fertility treatments, I finally got pregnant, but George, worn out from waiting, didn't show any happiness or interest in my pregnancy. Then my water broke. I asked him to take me to the hospital, but he ignored me and left the house. I frantically called an ambulance and fortunately the child was unharmed. However, he was cold to me during my hospital stay. If it continues, I will miscarry. So, I decided to return to my parents' home as soon as possible. Then, our child was born. Looking at my baby's sleeping face, I felt such happiness. But he never visited me in the hospital. Nor did he reply when I informed him of the birth. When he finally came, he brought divorce papers. Just because you had a kid doesn't mean you can act all high and mighty. I'll divorce you if you do. You had twins? You take care of those kids. I'll provide financial support, but don't rely on me. I couldn't understand what he was saying. They were our children, after all. Then he said, I have a mistress. I won't leave you now, but if you don't behave, I might live with her. You'd be in trouble without me, right? I'll stay married to you for now, but if you disobey me, I'll file these divorce papers. Be prepared. He said so and held a pen at me. I knew it. I knew he was seeing someone else. After longing so much for a pregnancy, not having children even after 3 years, and finally deciding to undergo fertility treatment. Since that time, my husband's attitude had begun to change. There were also hints and shadows of another woman involved. When I talked to friends, they said it was just an affair and he would come back eventually, advising me to focus on the baby. I calmed myself with their words. Getting upset or feeling insecure because of George's affair would only affect the baby. I decided to focus only on my child's happiness, believing George would return to his old self once the baby was born. I thought his heart would turn towards our child. I kept reassuring myself, enduring through the tough and challenging period of morning sickness. But when I joyfully told George that we were having twins, he frowned. Twins? Do you know how expensive they are? One child is already costly. Get rid of one. I couldn't believe his words. After wanting a child so badly, he now didn't want twins. I can't do that. What do you mean you can't? I don't need 2 kids. But you wanted kids so badly. So what? You get to be a parent to 2 kids at once. Look, if it was earlier in our marriage, I might have been happy about twins. But now, I don't care. After he said that, our conversations practically ceased. He started coming home late, and we barely spent any time together. On the rare occasions he was home, he treated me like a housemaid, only giving me tasks to do. Hey, where's my dinner? He would yell irritably if dinner wasn't ready when he got back from work. There were times when I was lying down feeling weak, and he kicked me. I always tried desperately to protect my belly from being kicked. When he told me to accompany him for shopping, carrying heavy bags became my duty. Walking slowly due to my heavy belly, he would get angry, saying it was too slow for him. Cleaning, laundry, cooking and taking care of him. I felt like a tyrant was ordering me around, giving me task after task. I worried if this would affect the baby's health, and then my water broke. He was laughing and watching TV. Hey! Change the channel. He doesn't even want to touch the remote control that is right in front of him. I stopped cooking and went to change the channel for him. As I was about to do so, he yelled, I can't see, and kicked my belly. When intense pain surged through me and I felt a warm liquid flowing down my legs, I realized my water had broken. Ow, it hurts. Honey, call an ambulance. I couldn't make out his expression. He seemed to stare blankly at me for a while, but no matter how much I pleaded, he wouldn't call an ambulance. Instead, he said, I don't care. Call it yourself. And left the house. I reached for my phone with the thought of saving my child, hearing the door slam violently. And that's how I managed to call an ambulance and get to the hospital. The doctor told me to rest, and I was admitted to the hospital. That night, he texted me, demanding to know where I was. I have to rest, so I'll be staying in the hospital for a while. He clicked his tongue and said, "You're hospitalized for that? Annoying. You're such a useless woman." Then hung up. I couldn't believe his words and feared for the baby's safety if I returned home. He knew about the child and still kicked my belly. What might he do next? I was filled with fear. I'm scared to go home. I wished I could stay hospitalized until the birth, but I knew that wasn't possible. To escape the fear of living with George, I sought refuge with my parents and decided to return to my childhood home. My poor girl. You should have come back sooner if things were this bad. My mother came to pick me up and tenderly took care of me. It had been so long since I felt this kindness, and I couldn't help but cry. Just relax at home. Your only job is to safely deliver the baby. I nodded repeatedly. Back at my parents' house, I spent peaceful days like when I was a young girl. I sent an email to him explaining the situation and apologizing. But there was no reply, not even a read receipt. However, thanks to my parents' kindness, my mind was at ease, and the baby stayed safe in my womb. I can give birth safely if things continue like this. I thought happily and decided to go for a walk to give my baby some fresh air. I wandered around near my house, admiring the flowers and gazing up at the sky. What will happen when these children are born and we return home? Such thoughts began to cross my mind. Will he love these children? The answer was a resounding no. Recalling my husband's behavior to date, it seemed impossible to imagine otherwise. Once born, there will be night crying, diaper changes, feedings, and George will likely get irritated if things don't go his way. What if he takes it out on the children? What if he's rough with newborn babies? Perhaps it's better not to go back. These thoughts kept recurring. What brought these thoughts back was a phone call to George a few days ago. I've been told to rest at the hospital, so I'll be staying at my parents' house until the birth. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I said it as if I was informing a stranger. Okay. Take your time. It's not like I'm in trouble without you. I could hear a woman's voice in the background. Hey, what do you want to eat tonight? I want to change the bed cover in the bedroom, let's go shopping. It was obvious she was deliberately speaking up to be heard. I realized they were using the bedroom. It was clear that the woman's voice was meant for me to hear. I knew he had a woman. Strangely, I wasn't shocked. What do I really want by going back to such a man? I can't see these children being happy there. His laughter echoed in my mind. There was no sadness, no pain. Only hatred. He had his heart taken by another woman, which is why he didn't rejoice in the pregnancy. So, was he trying to make me miss Gary with his cruel behavior? Just then, the babies in my belly moved. It felt as if they were telling me not to harbor hatred. Ah, you're right. Sorry, I shouldn't think like that. I whispered to my belly, admonishing myself, and continued walking, soon seeing my old middle school. Children were running around energetically, a world full of hope for the future. I used to think like that too. I'd marry a wonderful person and be happy. As I gazed through the fence at the schoolyard, a car stopped beside me, and someone called out. Hey, aren't you Elizabeth? Turning at the sound of my name, I saw a familiar face. It's me, Tom, from the same middle school. Forgot me, huh? Tom, a classmate from middle school days, slowly came back to me. I had some free time and thought of visiting the school. He told me why he was here, even though I didn't ask. Nostalgic, right? I sometimes come here too. Not sure why, but it's always middle school, not high school or university. He said with a laugh, looking bright and radiant. It's great to meet a classmate here, I've got some time, wanna talk for a bit? Oh, but it's cold here. Did you know there's a cafe nearby? It's a nice little place run by an individual. Let's go there. I couldn't help but laugh as he invited me to join him as if we were in junior high school. Come on, get in. With a belly that big, walking must be hard, right? But. Come on, get in, no need to be shy. We're classmates, right? I only went out for a walk, I don't even have my wallet. What, that's it? I'm not a middle schooler anymore, don't worry. I can afford a cup of tea. He laughed. Once we entered the cafe, just as he said, it was a very calm and pleasant place. Sitting by the window, enjoying the view, we reminisced about old times. Congratulations on your marriage. Hearing that, my face clouded over. Was this marriage really something to be celebrated? What about you, Tom? Me? I'm single. Not that I'm committed to being single, but I had a crush on a girl in middle school, and before I knew it, I turned 30 while thinking about her. That's quite loyal. It's nice to hear you say that. When I tell the nurses at my workplace, they say it sounds stalkerish and creepy. Young people these days are very straightforward. Wait, what? You work at a hospital? Oh, right. We didn't interact much, so you might not know. I'm a doctor's son. My parents always told me to become a doctor, so I did without much resistance. I guess I'm a good-for-nothing, lazy doctor. Which hospital do you work at? It's the general hospital downtown. So you're the son of an important person at a big hospital. It's not like that. I'm not so much a rich heir as I am someone who just loves being a doctor. Are you a specialist in anything? Obstetrics and gynecology. Obstetrics and gynecology. What? Oh, nothing. I just thought you might be in surgery or internal medicine or something. I like women, so I thought it'd be nice to be surrounded by them every day. But after becoming an obstetrics and gynecology, instead of eye candy, I see the difficulties women face. It's humbling every day. It's interesting you think that way. Of course. Women carry their husband's child in their womb, endure morning sickness, and the discomfort of a growing belly. And they bear an unimaginable pain during childbirth. Men should be more humble and appreciative. If only he had been my husband, how happy I would have been. With that thought, tears started to flow involuntarily. What's wrong? Do you have some trouble? Or maybe it's maternity blues. I'm here to listen if you want. Encouraged by his words, I ended up pouring out everything that was in my heart. Perhaps because I thought I would never see him again, I was able to speak freely. But once I started, everything came rushing out, and I realized just how much had been weighing on my heart. After I finished, he looked pained and said, "That must have been tough." And then my dried tears began to flow again. Following this, I started visiting his hospital. I'll be your doctor until you give birth. Tell me even the smallest concerns. I promise to safely deliver these children. He contacted me almost daily, alleviating my worries. The twins I safely gave birth to are smiling at me like angels. He visits my home whenever he has time, checking on the children. Being a first-time mother, I have many worries and concerns, and his presence has been a great support. After spending about 3 weeks at my parents' house postpartum, I was torn about returning home. My husband occasionally sent me messages on WhatsApp, but they were full of sarcasm and disdain, showing no concern for the children. How long do you plan to stay there? If you think you can raise the kids with my money, come back and take care of the house. If you can't do that, there's no point in us staying married. Even when I sent pictures of the children, his only comment was, "They look like monkeys." My husband, resentful of my relaxed time at my parents' house, said, "Don't get too comfortable just because you had a baby. He doesn't love me anymore." That thought kept coming to my mind and wouldn't go away. Should I continue this marriage for the children's sake? But I don't think they'll be happy with things as they are. Being fatherless is also hard. No matter how much I thought about it, I kept going in circles. Then one day, my husband came to visit. Just seeing his face made my heart race and my chest tighten. He put on a good face in front of my mother, but as soon as she left, his expression changed, and he bombarded me with nasty comments. And then, "Sign this." It was a divorce paper. What? Just because you had a baby, you think you can do whatever you want, not coming back home. A woman giving birth is just natural. If you keep neglecting your duties at home, I can divorce you anytime. Sign this. I've already signed it. True enough, his name was there. A woman like you is not needed, really. But I'll keep you as a housekeeper. As long as you listen to me and take care of the house, I won't divorce you immediately. After all, we need to raise the kids. Without me, you'll be in trouble. So serve me well, considering that. I couldn't bring myself to sign the document my husband had presented, still undecided in my heart. Seeing my hesitation, he just grinned nastily. He kept berating me, thinking I couldn't live without him after having 2 kids. So, when are you coming back? After the postpartum month. Cut it out already. I went earlier, but you're the housekeeper, you know? If you don't come back, the house will stay messy. Your job is to keep the house clean for me, right? There's a woman. What? There's a woman in our house, isn't there? What? You brought another woman into our house while I was away, right? Oh, you knew that? Yeah, I have a mistress. Even if you come back, she'll live with us. You'll clean and cook for both of us, doing your housekeeping duties. What the? I'll provide for the kids, so no complaints, okay? What selfish reasoning. So, sign it already. Once you do, you'll be my slave for life. Fine, I'll sign. But once I do, we'll divorce. What are you talking about? I didn't say I wanted to divorce right now. As long as you obey me, I won't divorce you. We have to feed the kids. No, that's okay. I've thought about it enough. Thought about what? Divorcing you. I thought it'd be better for the kids if we didn't, but I can't bear the thought of returning to a house with your mistress. And I can't stand the idea of living with someone as arrogant as you. Let's end this. I didn't plan to divorce. He panicked, but I had no time to ponder why. I just wanted it to be over. That's all I wanted. I took the pen, wrote my married name for the last time, and signed my own name. You'll be in trouble without me. Who's going to provide for the kids? Don't worry, I can work too. Thanks for making my decision easier. At that moment, my mother, standing at the doorway, clapped. Well done, Elizabeth. You can't be happy with such a man. We, your parents, will take care of you and the kids. Don't worry and go ahead with the divorce. Mom, were you there the whole time? Yes, I was. Neither you nor George noticed. I've been listening the whole time, with the doctor here. Beside her stood Tom. What? Who are you? I'm Elizabeth and her children's home doctor. I came to check on the kids, but I didn't expect this. As a doctor, I'm relieved she's divorcing. I agree with it. What's this, Elizabeth? You having an affair? Don't be ridiculous. As I said, he's the obstetrician who's been looking after the kids. Doctors don't just come over. Well, I do. I've been friends with her since middle school. I know all about what you did to her. I've always liked her since then. I heard she was married and unhappy, so I planned to ask her out if she divorced. What? Now that she's signed the divorce form, she's free, right? Elizabeth! Did you come to your parents' house to meet this guy? No. I didn't know he liked me until now. Elizabeth, I've liked someone since middle school, and that's why I never got married. That person was you. Oh, how sweet. Today, I just happened to come to check on the kids, but it turned out to be perfect timing. I think this is a chance given to me by fate. Saying this, he came over to me, snatched the divorce papers, and handed them to my mother. So you were cheating after all. Setting up this farce, what a person you are. How pathetic can you get? Just because you have a mistress doesn't mean she's cheating too. What? I bet the woman you're with is nothing special, right? So when she wasn't around, you turned the house into your playground. You two probably planned to bring Elizabeth back and keep her as a housekeeper, right? That's nonsense. Is it? When she was there, the house was clean. But look at the current state. He showed a photo on his phone. The house was a mess, like a garbage dump. The once tidy house was now unlivable. Why do you have such a photo? She confided in me. I became curious about the kind of woman you were with. What kind of woman caught your attention? So, I hired a detective to investigate, and this is what they sent. You're invading my privacy! If we started worrying about that, private investigators would be out of business. I just wanted to know your situation. And you're satisfied with living with such a woman? But since the house is dirty, you came here, thinking she wouldn't agree to the divorce. Shut up! But sadly for you, anyone would reconsider after being kicked in the belly while pregnant, causing their water to break. Stop underestimating her. Damn it. And you've confessed to having an affair, but it seems you've been with that woman for over a year. Wait, that's around the time I got pregnant. So you weren't happy because of her? Apparently. Exactly. I like her better than a woman who can't easily have children. I suspected you were with another woman. I thought it would end eventually. It never would. Being with you is not fun at all. But I was cheating, and you have a man too. So we're even. I won't pay alimony or child support. Who knows if those kids are even mine? Sadly, these children are yours. They were born during our marriage. And if you think we're having an affair, show proof. Otherwise, it's defamation. If you're okay with that, go ahead and sue. I'll be ready. What? I might sue you too. Why? I'm the deputy chairman of the biggest hospital around. You've accused me of having an affair. That's defamation. Plus, your assault and refusing to pay child support could lead to legal action. I have the money for it. If there needs to be proof. Coming to a woman's house personally like this is evidence enough, isn't it? Unfortunately, as a home doctor, it's normal for me to visit the house. Especially when there's a newborn from a first-time mother. It's natural to want to help a worried mother. And your mother-in-law is always present, so there's no issue. Why don't you hire a detective too? Well, if you have the money for it. Damn it! It's a bit blunt to say, but you're just an ordinary employee. Your salary isn't that much, is it? Do you really think you can fight me? It's an impossible ask. What? Also, if my girlfriend accepts my proposal, I intend to adopt the kids. If that happens, I won't ask for child support. Lucky for you. But then, you won't be their parent anymore. I won't let you see them. But it saves you money, right? Hope she accepts me. Ah, yes, that's good for me. I won't struggle without you. But I'll find evidence and I'm going to sue for alienation of affection. Go ahead. It won't bother me, but only if you have evidence. I have solid proof of your affair. Of course, I've recorded this entire conversation. What? Damn it! He tried to leave angrily. But then Tom said something more. I have some advice for you. What? Be careful with your mistress. What do you mean? You'll understand soon. He smirked and pointed George towards the exit. After that, my divorce from George was finalized, and I was able to claim alimony and child support. Of course, I also claimed damages from his mistress, who knowingly had a relationship with a married man. And then the woman made a big fuss, asking why she had to pay for it too. In the end, it seems he ended up covering her share as well. It seemed like George and the mistress would live happily in that house, but it didn't turn out that way. About 2 months later, the mistress's affair came to light. And along with her significant debt. It turned out that the debt was all for buying luxury stuff. Moreover, she had used his name as a guarantor and borrowed from disreputable sources. When this was discovered, the mistress became furious, leading to a huge fight with him, even involving the police. Eventually, the mistress had to work to pay off her own debts, but one day, she suddenly disappeared, leaving behind nothing but debt. George, left with the repayment, was forced to work, but with collectors showing up on payday, he was left with barely any money. This got out at his workplace, and being involved with such lenders was seen as irresponsible, resulting in his termination. Since then, George has been moving around, trying to escape debt collectors. His current whereabouts are unknown. On my side, Tom proposed a relationship with marriage in mind. However, traumatized by my worst marriage experience, I initially refused his offer. But he kept visiting and playing with the children. And seeing how they had grown fond of him, I began to think that maybe he would be all right. Eventually, I decided to remarry, and now the four of us are living happily as a family.